Well, looking at that matchup, Edgar versus Holloway, I mean, who do you think wins it? Because a lot of people are sort of thinking Max Holloway might retain, but Frankie Edgar's a veteran who's, always dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not just talking about being veteran and like stylistically, but like styles go so far in this sport. People really don't realize that. People like try and, this guy beat this guy. How's he going to beat this guy? And they do that type of fight map and all that. Mate, styles make fights. Been happening for years. Like this triangle where one person can beat someone, but can't beat that guy, but that other guy. You know what I mean? You just get what I'm trying to say. That shit happens all the time. And in this instance, like I know Max absolutely bashed Ortega, and Ortega beat Frankie. But I mean, stylistically, Frankie's a pretty hard matchup for Max. But whether he's fallen off the edge so much since his last fight, he is getting older. He's not getting any younger. He is aging now. He's been in the game a long time. He has had a long time off. Hasn't been fighting very regularly. So maybe he's not the same person he was. But if he is, he will give Max problems. He can set a high-paced fight. He's obviously got the gas tank, and then he's got the wrestling. So, we know what Max likes to do. He likes to press forward, punch in volume. He does get hit, which is why I'm a very bad matchup for him. But I'm not worried about Frankie landing big shots, but the fact that he'll be able to handle the pace and then he's got the takedowns while Max is trying to come forward, I think he could win a decision. I really do think that. But again, if Frankie gives Max Holloway troubles, I'm going to give him major problems, and that's for sure. And we'll see what happens. But again, I'm a bad matchup for Max Holloway, and people can say what they want until it happens, and everyone will believe me after I get it done.
Well, I think the UFC would be foolish not to put you on the ESPN desk to break down this fight because you did a fantastic job of it, Alex. I wanted to sort of expand on what you just touched on. Who do you think is more challenging for you at this point, Frankie Edgar or Max Holloway? As you mentioned, styles make fights, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just think, no one's really a bad matchup for me, to be quite honest. I'm that well-rounded. I can always adapt. Your worst type of matchup, my hardest fight, I believe, is someone like a Chad Mendes. People will sit there and say Frankie Edgar is sort of the same, but he's not as powerful as Chad. So I'm going to be too strong he's not as powerful as Frankie. I'm going to be too strong for Frankie and too powerful, you know what I mean? So I just think that'll really, and obviously I can deal with his pace and all that sort of stuff. And then I've got so many other tools. Max, again, he's tough. He's got a major chin. So when I am landing them big bombs, there's a good chance he can take them. So he'll be in the fight for a bit longer. But, mate, again, I honestly think, Chad would be a harder matchup than Max. And that's not any disrespect to Max. Max done great things. Max done bigger things than what Chad has done. But stylistically, that's just what I think. And you've seen what I was able to do to Chad, even though I think that he is a harder matchup than some of these other guys. I'll always find a way to get it done. Yeah?
That's fascinating. So I guess in some ways, do you feel like your hardest test in the division, you've already passed that?
Yeah, Chad was definitely a big test. Again, that's why I wanted it. I knew where it would get me. But again, I believe I can beat anyone in the division. And so I'll fight anyone. So that doesn't really matter. But I'm a bad matchup for everyone. That's what I mean. Like, you got these guys that are, people, even with Aldo, people are sitting there being like, oh, yeah, he's takedown defense. You ain't going to do this. You ain't going to do that. How's Alex going to, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I'm picking him apart on the outside and stuff like that. Who would have thought that? You couldn't tell me that I was going to be out of his range and you know what I mean? And just sort of shut him down and like outpoint him that way. No one would have expected that. But it just shows you how much depth I've got and how far I can go this. You give me one problem, I've got that many other tools to throw at you, and then it's no longer a problem. I've got a different problem for you.
It's interesting because you mentioned obviously Max Holloway and the fact that he tried to go up to lightweight. A lot of people think he's kind of in a difficult position because it seemed like Dana White and him were kind of planning on him going up to lightweight, possibly winning the title there and sort of not fighting at featherweight as much because he's had those issues cutting weight and all of that kind of thing. What do you think about the position that he's in now? He's sort of the champion there, but do you believe that he'll be able to sort of hang around in the division for a while, or do you think eventually he'll have to move up?
Mate, look, I think he will eventually move up. He's probably heart set on featherweight right now. Again, I'm not one to talk shit, but I'll fight him and I'll make his decision for him, and then he'll go back up to lightweight. And again, that's just, again, like if I'm planning on taking that title 2019, So once he feels that, why suffer in 145 when I'm the champ? So we'll see what happens. But again, he's probably got his heart set on featherweight, but that'll change soon.